Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
My name is William. So happy to be here today. Today, I would like to tell you about the importance of sex education for youth. So let's take a look for the first picture. What comes into your mind when you see a pregnant teen like this, 15 years old and pregnant already? You feel sad?
Kids having kids.
Kids having kids. Funny. You know, they're still kids, they're still young. At 15 years old, they age kids, they're supposed to be having fun. Play with their friends, play with the parents together to the movie or anything else, but they succumb to the curse of pregnancy. They are supposed to have something that have to be later, like 10 years to go. Of course, I'm sure that all of us doesn't want to have a friends, a relative that is having babies like this, you know. They become single mother or they get married at very, very young age. So my question here for you is, what can we do to prevent teen pregnancy around us? Maybe you haven't had the answer yet, so let me tell you the answer. Because first of all, let's take a look at the parents. You know, parents is the key. Parents are the key of our education. Since our young age, our parents teach us how to read. Our parents teach us about reading pictures. Our parents teach us about how to walk. Our parents potty training us. Our parents is our first teacher. But what is wrong with our education system from the parents that is not just enough? I'm not saying wrong here is truly wrong, but there's something missing from the way they educate us. So it's about sex. No matter who your parent is, you know, the parents is the only one that you are comfortable to be talked to. Your parents is the only one that you are feeling comfortable to ask questions that is shameful maybe if you ask to your friends or for your teacher. So before I explain further about the reason why we should have sex education, let's take a look at the Indonesian law of marriage. Here, the regulation for the Indonesian law of marriage number 1, year 1974, adolescent sexuality just allows sexuality in marriage through both legal and moral mechanism, but deny. Please take note about the right one. Deny sexuality for non-married adolescents. In fact, adolescents are more likely to engage in high-risk behavior which associate with unwanted pregnancy and sexual transmitted disease, including HIV and AIDS. So here, from our law, you know, there's a flaw here. I would like to show you the flaw in our law that our government denied the sexual ability of our younger person, our younger generation. Denying their sex ability, it doesn't mean that they cannot have sex anymore, you know. Denial is not a way to prevent. Denial is not a way to help them. Education here is the way to help them. I would like to encourage you as the future parents, teach, educate your children about sex. Not following the flaw in our law that denying. Denying them is not educating them. As we live in the globalization era, you know, Western tradition and Eastern tradition mix up, you know. We cannot put a filter. Just like we are filtering water, dirty become clean. It's not as simple as that, you know. Because nowadays, internet, friendship, tradition, all mix up, you know. The young generation here looks like imitating the Western culture. They are like so fun, you know, like having sex, you know, like for Western people, having sex is like a common thing. And then our generation think that we should try. It's fun. The difference is in Western culture, they educate the children. They have sex education in the school from the parents, but we don't. So that's why the problem here is if the school, the teacher do not teach, we as the parents teach them, educate them. So as we can see here is Indonesian Young Adult Reproductive Health Survey in 2007 shows that the male young generation in Indonesia, 51.3% having sex just because they wanted to know. This was 7 years ago, but already this high, And for the female one, forced by their partner is 21.2%. And it just happened. How can it be just happen, And it is about 38.4 and 25.8 for the male. So, in conclusion, I would like to persuade you, I would like to encourage you as the parents to give sex education since early age. So, by understanding about sex, our youth can do sex safely and can prevent unwanted pregnancy. By educating our youth to sex education, we can prevent sexually transmitted disease. And one thing that I think is important here, sex education is the birth control. It's not IUD, it's not everything the doctor said, but if you educate your children properly, so birth control is the, sex education is the way. So, any question?
So what do you think is the ideal, I guess, like content in an ideal sex education?
Pardon?
What is the ideal content for sex education? Content, like you see.
Pardon?
Content. You see the sex education.
So sex education is what should.
We teach them.
Yes. So sex education basically is the first thing is what to know better about your reproduction, your thing, your private thing. That's the proper way to educate, because as you can see from the survey before, they just wanted to know, what is this, what is that, how does it look, So in Western culture, the first thing is they educate, they introduce. This is your reproduction, this from early age. So the curiosity is not so booming at the teenage. So yes.
Okay, so do you think it's better for parents to provide this sex education, or it's better provided by the professional? For example, a doctor.
I think both should work together, parents for the basics since early age. But when the time has come, at 13 till 15 years old, maybe the doctor can help. Because if you bring them to the doctor at age 10, I don't think they will be comfortable with that.
No, not bring the doctor. Maybe the school can invite the doctor to the school
But
to give
if
a talk.
something about school, so we need to consult the government. And I don't think it is that easy. Because our law itself still really Eastern, that deny or forbid about having sex outside of marriage. Yes?
Talking about sex education, you asked us to give sex education to kids.
Yes.
Maybe I just want to ask, what are the concrete examples, the concrete forms of this sex education that we can do as parents?
Well, the concrete sex education since early young age do sex education conversation, like, hey kid, how can I say, like, it's too.
What would you say to your kid?
Yeah. For me, if I would say to my kid, like, don't do sex outside the marriage. If you want to do it safely, here's the answer. You ask me, how do I speak to my kid? That's how do I speak to my kid. I prevent them. If a guy don't make a girl pregnant, if you are a girl, don't get pregnant. This kind of concrete. You can guess?
That's somehow applying.